Hello, everyone. Hello, Vorian.
Hi, Rita. Hi, everybody. We are
Good.
back.
We are back, and we're continuing today to dive in on why we have created this 6 weeks Kickstart Your 2025 program. And like we spoke about in the other live, what we are doing is to create that container that we love so much ourselves, which is being together with other like minded women who are clear that they want something more and they maybe want to make this year their best year ever. Even though, like many of the feedbacks that we have been receiving, when we've asked what made you respond to the invitation, even on the chat on LinkedIn, the feedback we have got is also a mix of I feel stuck or I'm restless. Some has clear aspirations of what they want to see happen in 2025. Others are looking for the unknown. Like, I don't know, but what I do know is that I want a shift. I want to change. I want to feel different to what I feel today. And both Borian and myself, we have experienced the power of being in these kind of rooms where we as women get together and we dream. We get to dream big. And we also get to be open as to what is holding us back. One of the very important topics is about the goal or the vision, whether you have it or not. What we know, what has been said, and one of the famous saying from Dr. Joe Dispenza is be the vision of your future, or be defined by the vision of your future instead of the memory of your past. And in that, the question is,
There
well,
is,
if I want to be defined, right, by a future, where is the vision? Warren, yes.
yes, no, there is so much in that sentence and so much power in that sentence. And for me, it made such a big difference when I started to understand what it actually was saying and how to step up into your future and letting go of the past, which is not done so easily, but being in that work of identifying what is holding me back so that I can stand in my future and stand in my vision. This is such a powerful work. And we
Yeah.
will be talking a little bit about it here, but it's one of my favorite topics because it has changed so much for me in my life.
Yeah. I love that. For me, it's also really important. I remember I think it was actually the very first live that I did on LinkedIn quite a few years ago. But I then asked, are you a match to your vision? Can you carry your vision? And then who is carrying the vision? Like, and that created a lot of interest, a lot of traction with new clients who came in because it was, I don't know what my vision is. And when I want something, how do I know if I'm actually a match to that vision? But Vorian, I'm curious, when we are talking about being defined by a vision of the future instead of the memory of the past, what comes up for you in your own life where you can talk about the before and after or the experience?
Well, for me, it was I can bring up this example that we spoke about just before going on live here, and that was wanting to step into building my company and being holding that vision of the company, and then realizing that I I couldn't feel it. I had such a difficulty to feel it. I was falling back all the time to littleness, to self-sabotage, to a lot of things that were going on, and I had to start to identify what my problem what my problem was, what's going on here. And in hindsight, I mean, I have been a leader many times in different positions in corporate and also working in the UN. And when I look back, I feel that I never fully stepped into being a leader. And I was kind of held back, and also like being, I shouldn't be here. This is not where I should be. Power is not, to have power is something bad. So I had to really look at, where is this coming from? Why do I feel this way? Because I couldn't go beyond it. And then I saw that I have a family history. I have a family story. My mother being a left-wing person in the 70s, where power was male and it was bad, and having money was oppression. So if you had power and money, you were automatically part of the oppression. And this was so ingrained in my person that I could not step into being powerful. I could not step into abundance, because then I would be a bad person. And I'm just saying, it's with a sigh of relief that I could let go of that. And when I could identify that this was the story of my past, of my upbringing, of all of those things, of another era, that we've now moved into something else. And I could identify that and say, well, this has nothing to do with me. This is a story of the 70s, 80s. Well, I was very young in the 70s, but in the 80s, 90s, it's a story of my mother. It's a story that has nothing to do with me. And I can just put it aside and step into who I want to be. Nobody can tell me anything about if my being is right or wrong. It's me. It's about me and who I want to be and who I want to step into. That was liberation. And then I could step into the future self, me, the vision. So I had to identify and let go of that was holding back, of my story of the past, so that I could step in to my future self.
That's so powerful. And it's, what I'm hearing is that one of the part of the vision you had was to be free and liberated and speaking up and doing all these things. So you had that kind of vision, but yet so much was holding you back of fear. Very often it's fear based, to upset our
Yes.
family members because that is their ruling. But I want to be here.
Yeah,
But what
I
happened?
want to be a leader, and a good leader, but no, as a leader in power, you are oppressor. Conflicting messages inside myself, which didn't allow me to really bloom as a leader
Mm,
within myself, for myself. Yeah.
mm, yeah. It's incredibly powerful. And I think this is where the nuances is, like when we want to be defined by the vision of our future instead of the memory of our past, there is this bridge that we're talking about. And this is where your mastery comes in as well, like bridging that which is to what can be. So the gap is much smaller. Um, and so my own story, it's also interesting if I bring it into kind of quite close. So when I started my business, before I started my business, like, I mean, I've been 20 years a director in the press, focusing on the oil and gas sector, traveling the world. And I saw a lot of cases with women where I saw they're playing themselves small. And at the same time as when I was speaking to women kind of on the side, they had grandiose ideas about the ways in which we could solve some of these challenges. So I was very inspired and very intrigued by these women. So when I was starting my own business, I had a vision, a very clear vision. And that was that I had a particular mastermind, a mastermind that contained women that was far beyond me. Like, I'm talking about the women with the knowledge and the drive. And at the time, I couldn't see that I am actually part of them too. But at that time, I was thinking, this is a group of women that I aspire to become. So I wanted to bring them together in the mastermind. I had my vision. It was so clear, but I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. Every time I made the move to think, oh, this is what I'm going to do, I didn't move. Why? Because the memory of my past was haunting me. And the memory of my past is very specific. I'm 9 years old. My friends were older. They were all girls, tall, blonde. You know, when you're 9 and they're 11, 12, big difference. And what happened was, I was out playing with them. And then the leader of the pack said, oh, why don't we all get dressed up and we have a fun experience and we go back to this area where we used to play. And I remember I was so excited, so excited. I was running home, and I really even remember the dress that I borrowed from my grandmother, this yellow ballet thing. I put it on, I ran down there. And as I'm going into this place where we were meeting, they look at me and they say, what are you doing here? And I said, weren't we going to kind of do the same? Yeah, but you, who are you? You're just kind of a baby. Like, this is for us. In that moment, Vorian, there was an imprint in my body that women of power are very dangerous species. That was inside of me. And every time when I was planning to bring women of power, women of vision, women on the mission to solve some of the greatest challenges on the planet, I shrank. So what did I have to do? My vision was clear, but my memory of the past was too strong. I decided to be part of a mastermind driven by a very powerful woman for women. I could see contextually how it was done, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't before I learned a very important thing. The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. The fear I did not to enter, the fear I had was that I don't know enough, I'm not good enough, who do you think you are? And I did it anyway. And I invited in the women I wanted. You being one of them.
Yes, and I love
Right?
it. Yes.
So this is where we are. And just I wanted to share that because this is the conversation we're going to have, right, over these 6 weeks, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yes. And also on how to find back to those defining moments. We spoke last time about that there are defining moments that will help us forward, but there are also defining moments that are holding us back, like defining moments of our past that are holding us back. And when we put words to those, we also kind of break that bubble or that hold. It's like when we identify, this is what is holding me back, my mother's story, or that rejection in that very moment as a vulnerable 9-year-old. And we can look back and say, that was it, and share it in the open with others. And suddenly it loses its power over us. And that is so liberating. And to be able to do that in a group of women that are the receivers of and helping us to take those shackles away, because we could speak them out in the room. It's very liberating.
Yeah, yeah. And what I want to share with you listening in here, the conversation you're observing between Vorian and me, this is what we bring in. We bring in the stories of our own. And I also want to share, we have very current stories. It's not like, oh, that's in the past and now we're only living in the definition of the vision of the future, but we're making maybe decision based on the definition of the future that we have. So what we're going to dive in on the next live is something that is also very important that we will talk about when we are meeting together for these 6 weeks. And that is, do you truly know your zone of genius? Do you know what makes you come to life? Because that is very much linked to, defining the vision of your future, because very often it's about how we feel. Do we feel alive? Do we feel inspired? Do we feel like in awe? And we get to work a bit on that. So we're going to jump in on that in the next live, because that is also some of the themes we're going to address in the 6 weeks program. So with that, bye for now.
Bye for now. See you later.